everyone, I'm Carrie. I'm a cross stitcher and a quilter, and I am back for Flosstube number 4. It has been 2 weeks since my last video. I feel like I'm in a Catholic confession or something, like, bless me, YouTube, for I have stitched. It has been 2 weeks since my last video. I have Coco here. She's always ready to be held and be a part of things. So I have a couple of finishes to share. I have some previous finishes. What else? I can share what I've been working on. I did meet my January WIPGO goals, so I can share those. I have a couple of products I want to share. And then I have some haul, of course, which I think is the best part. So I hope you have your online shopping cart up and ready to go, because I'm about to fill it. Okay, so let's see. We had some snow. We live about 80 miles west of Houston, and Martin Luther King Jr. Day came, and we woke up that night. It got down to like 16, and then Tuesday morning we woke up and we had probably like 1.5 inches of snow accumulated in a lot of places. And so that was really fun. It was just, I love winter, I love snow, I love how quiet and still it makes everything. So it was a perfect day to stay home and stitch, and that is exactly what I did. And I got a couple of pictures of our dogs out in the snow. The morning we woke up, I opened the side door to let the dogs out, and Whiskey and Coco went running out into the snow because they think it's fun, usually. Whiskey is kind of iffy on it, but Coco loves it because she's got, you know, all this long hair and she's hot. So anything that feels cold to her is comfortable. So, but yeah, I turned around and Ginger took one look and she said, "No, thank you. I will pee in the laundry room." So, she did not care for it. I have a funny picture of her. I did finally get her to go out into the snow because I really wanted a picture of our dogs one last time in the snow. We used to live in Denton, and we usually saw snow once or twice a year maybe, and so when we moved here I thought, that's it, we'll never see snow again. So I was really happy that I got to see it in our house covered in snow and our dogs out in the snow. So I'll share that picture here of Ginger and her face. I think it says it. Her face says it all. She's not a fan. Let's see. Winnie, our cat, her lip seems a lot better. In my last video I mentioned she had an ulcer. We think it's caused by some allergic reaction, and a couple of you mentioned changing out her food bowls to like a stainless steel or ceramic, which we did. Our vet had mentioned that as well, so we did change out her food bowl. She was eating out of plastic. Apparently that can cause ulcers to flare up. I don't know. We finished giving her the steroids. We tapered her off. She was on steroids for about 10 days. 10 days, I think. She was a total champ. It got to the point where I could just go right up to her with a syringe full of liquid and just shoot it down her throat, and she's so nice about it. But yeah, I think her lip is better. It doesn't seem as swollen, and she doesn't look as funny, but the vet said if it comes back or it doesn't go away, that they want to biopsy it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. If it's skin cancer, then it's in a place where they can't really remove it because there's not any extra skin there, and it sounds like, from what I've read, if it is skin cancer, there's not a very good prognosis. So I don't necessarily think it is, but I don't think it's bad enough that we need to biopsy it. She's happy, she's eating, she's playing, she's very cuddly, she purrs all the time. It doesn't seem to bother her, and like I said, it looks a lot better. So I think we'll just kind of keep an eye on it, and if it comes back and it's worse or it looks the same as it did before, then I'll probably take her back to the vet and see what we can do. But she's doing good. So I appreciate all the messages and advice and concern that everybody had for her. So what else? we went to IKEA in Houston on Tuesday. A lot of you might remember back in September, I was on Facebook Marketplace and I found somebody about an hour away from us. Well, I can't tell if this is on the camera. It's on my screen. About an hour away from us, and he was selling, his wife had passed away, and he was selling a sewing table. And upon closer inspection, it was actually a Horn sewing cabinet. And if you are familiar with that brand and the prices for those, we're talking like a couple $1,000s. And this table had been used, like, it looked like she was a painter and she did crafts, so it was kind of covered in paint and not in the greatest shape. But he only wanted $25 for it. So I hopped in the car and we drove into the next town and we picked it up and brought it back, and Jake and I sanded it, cleaned it up, painted it. A lot of elbow grease. It still worked great, and we put it in my new sewing room when we moved in, and it served a good purpose for a couple of months, but to be honest, it was just too small. I have a Bernina 770, and the cabinet that I had, it was too small. And every time I turned to the left, I would shatter my kneecap on the drawers. And so I really wanted a table that did not have anything underneath it. I need like leg room and open space. So anyway, we went to IKEA on Tuesday, and I bought a large tabletop and some table legs, and I'm much happier now. So I'll link what I bought in the description box if anyone's looking for... Look at her, she's falling asleep. I'm boring everyone already. But yeah, I'll link it in the description box if anybody is looking for cheap sewing room furniture, just a simple table. It serves a good purpose. I mean, it's doing a good job. And like I said, I'm much happier, and I think I'll be able to work a lot easier. I've kind of been avoiding quilting lately just because I did not like the setup as much as I wanted to love it. I mean, it was such a good deal, $25 for a Horn cabinet, but I did find it a new home. Someone out here who lives locally is a quilter, and she will appreciate having it. So, yeah, it's a tough life, isn't it? It's such a struggle. I also got, while I was at IKEA, I got a metal trash can to store my crushed walnut shells. And I got this idea from my friend Jody. She stores hers in a metal trash can. And I think it's the same one from IKEA maybe, but hers was blue. I think they just have them in white and black now, but I'm going to show y'all my crushed walnut shell storage. I'll have to put you down. Of course, I left it in the closet. Okay, so this is the trash can that I got. It was $14.99. And what's nice about it is you can just leave all your walnut shells. I need to get more, it's on my list. But when you're filling your pin cushions, you can just fill them up over the trash can, and then if there's any debris, like, I don't know, it's not as messy. So I have always wanted to get one, and now that we are finally in our house and I have the room, and we were conveniently in an IKEA, I thought I can finally get that trash can that Jody has for her crushed walnut shells. And it has like a hook on the lid, so you can store it that way, or you can actually use it as a trash can. So, but yeah, that's the story of my trash can. All right, so previous finishes. I just kind of went around my house and I picked up stuff laying around that I made these a while ago in the last couple of years, but I didn't really share them on social media. I don't think. If I did, it's been so long, but I wanted to share them with y'all today. This is Coffee, I think it's called Coffee First by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I stitched it on 32 count flax, 2/2. And when I ordered the pattern, I think I bought the pattern off Etsy, and at the time, the seller was selling the little miniature spoon with the pattern. So I know you can still find it online if you search around, but to get that little spoon, I don't think you have to order it from Brenda herself, but it's cute. And this hangs on the cabinet door, like the cabinet door handle that we have right above our coffee maker. So, and I just added like a, what would you call that? It's ribbon, but it's like burlap and stiff, and it's kind of fraying, but I was still kind of new to finishing, so I don't know why, but I used floral wire to like pinch the bow in the center. I don't know why I didn't just use thread. And then I hot glued the button because I don't know. Okay, so the spoon charm, I actually looked in my purchase history on Etsy, and I got the pattern and the spoon charm from Farmer's Attic, and I just looked, and she still has these available, and the spoons, you can add them to your order for $1. So if you want to make this pattern, and you want the spoon, or you haven't been able to find it, you can order the spoon like on its own for $1 from Farmer's Attic. So as of this moment, there's 3 left. So, but just so you know, you can buy the spoon for this pattern. So the second and third previous finishes, these are the Loveable Petites from Little House Needleworks, and I stitched them using all I called 4 thread and the fabric. The fabric was I think it's a 32 count Weeks Dye Works in the color Red Pear. And then the covered button I did myself using a scrap of fabric from, I think, Brenda Riddle Moda. The ribbon just came from Hobby Lobby, and the wooden backer board came with the fabric, the gray check fabric. All I did was add my piece and the bow and the button on it. But the wooden tag with the fabric, it comes pre-made from Starry Night Studio Co. on Etsy, and she does an amazing job on these. I mean, her points are so sharp, and everything is just already finished for you. All you do is add to cart, finish your piece, mount it on some, like a cardboard, and I just hot glued it right on there, and then added a bow. So these are supposed to be, I guess, like little ornaments. I'm not really sure if I'm ever going to do like a Valentine tree. So for now, I just hung these from the kitchen cabinet knobs, and they just hang out. I'm not really a huge Valentine's Day person, so don't have a whole lot of Valentine's Day decor. So that's one, and then I have the second one stitched on all the same with the same. Yeah, I don't know why I was looking at that thinking it was backwards. It says L-O-V-E, yeah. I don't know why I thought I was looking in a mirror for a minute. So, there's my second one. I finished these probably 2 years ago. So in the pattern, there are actually 4 patterns inside this chart. I only made the first 2. So last week, so this is the pattern, Loveable Petites. So last week I went ahead and made myself stitch the 2 that I had not stitched. So I have now finished the complete pattern. I just have to finish these, like the first 2. And then we have Grow in love. I don't know what this means. What does that mean? Grow in love. Grow as a person. Grow in, I don't know. I just did what it said. And there are supposed to be back stitches for the eyes and the mouth, but man, I put, not back stitches, French knots. I hate French knots. I put them on, I did her eyes, and one of the eyes looked like she blew one of her pupils, like she was concussed. One was like bigger than the other. It didn't look good. I just decided I'm not gonna do the French knots. She can just be faceless. It's fine. So, did not do French knots for the eyes or the mouth. But they turned out cute. I stitched them on, I think it's 30 count Mariner's Map. And I got the fabric from 123 Stitch. And I think it's by Legacy. Mariner's Map 30 count by Legacy. So, I stopped complaining long enough to stitch 2/2 on 30 count. You know, because I don't really like stitching 2/2 anymore now that I've done one strand over one. But I finished them, and I have the 2 remaining tags to finish them on, and then I will have finally finished. And I even found in my cupboard buttons, I had even pre-made 2 more buttons. Like, I'm ready to go. I just needed to like sit down and do it. So I'm very glad that I finished these, and you know, they're pretty cute. So maybe one day I'll do a Valentine's Day treat. I don't know. I love pink. That's my favorite color. So I can get over Valentine's Day if there's more pink. It's funny because my business logo is red and pink. Like, I should be all over Valentine's Day. I'm just kind of like, it kind of makes me want to barf. What else? I did start Whittaker by Stacy Nash, and I've had him kitted and ready to stitch for at least a year. And I finally, last Friday, I thought, you know what? I am going to stitch Whittaker and I'm going to finish him this weekend. And I outlined him Friday night. Last Friday night I outlined him. And Saturday I sat down to start filling in all the white in his face and body. I've been humbled by fill-in. I thought it was going to be much faster. I did not finish him last weekend. I finished him Monday. I almost finished him over the weekend, but he's pretty cute. And I actually used, I guess when I kitted it, I knew I wanted the white in the pants, the thread colors for those, but the other threads use so little that I thought I'm not going to order brand new skeins of threads just because it says those are the colors to be used. I'm just going to find similar colors in my stash and go for it. So I will provide the thread conversion. Maybe Jake can put it on the screen with the threads that I used. And he's holding like a little Christmas tree ornament. I guess I just decided I wanted pink somewhere in the pattern, because in the group of threads I had pulled, sorry, I feel like I'm moving the table a lot. Okay. In the threads that I had pulled, there was pink, and I was like, there's no pink in the pattern, so I'm not really sure where I was going with that, but I decided I will just incorporate it and put the tree in a little pink basket. And for his scarf, I used the leftover wool I had from the gingerbread house project that I showed. Was it the last video or the one before? Stacy Nash, the one from the Jingle Ball that everyone has made and seen. And then I just slapped the little the wool heart on the back. I'm not actually going to use it to like hold scissors, so it's not a pocket, it's just fully glued down. And that is because I turned it right side out through an opening in the back, and I just covered it like that. So, but yeah, I didn't have to buy any wool. I already had it. So he's pretty cute. I've made the Dachshund animal cracker, and I think that's the only one I've done. I would like to do Maggie May, which is I think it's the bunny, and she's holding a little radish. It's so cute. And then, of course, I need to make the other Dachshund animal cracker. But yeah, there's Whittaker. And when I stuffed him, I put crushed walnut shells in the bottom so that he would be weighted more and stand up better, and then the rest of him is just polyfill. But I'm pretty happy with how he turned out, and I'm glad that I finally crossed something off the list. I was just craving a small because I worked on a lot of big stuff in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so WIPGO in January, my numbers that were called, I think it was 11 and 20. And on my WIPGO board, that meant I could finally start Anne Grimshaw 1818 by the Scarlet letter. So my goal with my WIPGO projects is to spend 6 to 8 hours on each project that's called that month. So my goal was to stitch 6 to 8 hours on Anne Grimshaw. And my other number was Elizabeth Furniss 1836. I did meet my goal and then some, and that is because last night I was working on Elizabeth Furniss, and we started watching Monsters, the Eric and Lyle Menendez story. And that is not for if you have a weak stomach, don't watch it. But the whole time, I mean, I just like could not, we were just kind of agape, like, but it was interesting, and so I ended up stitching 4 hours on this last night just because we were sitting there for so long, kind of just enthralled and fascinated, not in a good way. Like, there's a lot of, I hope YouTube doesn't like censor this video if I say this, but there's a lot of sexual abuse in that show, and just when you think it can't get worse, it gets worse. So if you're into true crime and things like that, it's pretty good. I mean, the actors do a great job, but it made Elizabeth Furniss, I worked on the border, it made that go by much faster, and it's a pretty easy border compared to the other borders I've been working on. So I'm going to switch to my top-down camera and share my progress on Anne Grimshaw and Elizabeth Furniss. Let's talk about Elizabeth Furniss first. Sorry about this weird shadow. I mean, I did the best I could. My producer is not home today, so I'm on my own with all this stuff. And it's going a little too smoothly, I think. So this is Elizabeth Furniss. I'm stitching it on 36 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim, and I give I give Olivia at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts full credit for this fabric because I just copied her. And I think it looks great. And I'm just using all the DMC for this. And somebody asked me this morning if they could do it on, they really wanted to stitch it, but they wanted to know if they could do it on a 14 or an 18 count. And I'm here to say that yes, you can, because 32 count, it's the same size if you do 16 count over 1, so 32 count over 2 would yield your finish to be about 21.5 by 22.5. So if you do 16 count over 1, I mean, that would finish at the same. So you could totally do it on a lower count fabric if this is something that you want to stitch. So the chart is from Hands Across the Sea Samplers, which I've just recently become kind of obsessed with. I really want to make some samplers this year. And so what I did, now when I started, I think when I started this, I had only done 1 day of stitching, and I had only done like a flower, some of the vines. I had really only done maybe this flower up here and some of the vine. So this month I put in, I'll have to look at my book of days, but obviously I put in a lot of stitches. I got this weird angel baby thing. I started the rose, which the rose is going to be pretty cool when that's finished. But one thing I noticed, the colors, now I'm sure that the sample was stitched on Alverosoie. Yeah. And I'm just using DMC. So the colors that I'm using, I love these colors. They're so vibrant. And this is almost like a fuchsia. So I'm loving the colors. That in itself is making me want to keep going on this just because I like what I'm seeing. And I said in my last video, or maybe it was the one before, but the verse at the top, I'm not going to stitch that. I'm going to stitch, I'm thinking I'm going to put like my grandparents on each side. I'm going to put their names on either side of the cartouche, and then maybe like their wedding date. And then in the center, I'll put like my name and the year I stitched it, which hopefully maybe will say 2025. I don't know, maybe 2029. We'll see. But anyway, that is Elizabeth Furniss. And I did, let me look at my book of days to see. Elizabeth Furniss. 2, 3, 7, 7 plus 3.5, 10.5, 10.5 hours on Elizabeth Furniss. I highlighted that in blue so I could kind of keep track. So I met my goal and then some. And then my other WIPGO, which was Anne Grimshaw. Now this I didn't have anything done on. This was a new start. Let me see if I can zoom in some. Crap. I forgot to share my project bag for Elizabeth Furniss. This is from Goose. And it's just a Lori Holt. It's really pretty. So anyway, Anne Grimshaw. I am using 36 count Cream and Sugar by Fiber on a Whim and Gloriana Silk thread in the color Antique Black. And it's going okay so far. I've never done eyelet stitches, so I'm not sure if I'll end up wanting to go back and redo any of them. I think they turned out okay for the most part. When I did this, I guess it's like a wreath, I messed up. I was doing really well and I messed up. Like, I mean, I was concentrating, I was focusing, I was telling myself don't screw this up because I don't want to have to redo the whole thing. I messed up like right in the beginning, y'all. I started up here, I went all the way down, and then I came back around and I went all the way down and it didn't match. It was off by 1. So the good thing about this chart is most of the motifs float. So if you're off by a stitch on one of them, it's not really a big deal. I just have to remember not to count from this motif. If I'm going to do one next to it, I need to count from where I know it's correct. So last night I did, was it last night? Yesterday afternoon, I stitched the rose that's in the center, and that is also off. Something happened down here, and again, it floats, so I'm not too worried about it. And I think I'm just gonna leave it as it is. You know, I gave it my best shot, and it's such a big chart that I really think it's not gonna be the first time that I mess up. So you can tell I'm way up here in this corner. So I have a long way to go, and I don't really want to pick out a mistake when I know it's probably going to happen again. I mean, it seems pretty unavoidable with a chart like this. There's a lot of tedious stitching in detail, and even in the original chart, I mean, the wreath is not a perfect circle in the chart. So I think mine is okay. But anyway, there's Anne Grimshaw. And I did, let me see. I think I did 9 hours on this. 9 hours this month on Anne Grimshaw. So I did pretty good. I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. Because there were a couple of nights where I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I like stitching with the one color. It kind of takes the guesswork out of things. You can just kind of zone out and finish with one color. Okay, and then my bag for Anne Grimshaw is, I think it's a by Annie pattern, but my mom made it many years ago. And I never had anything to like put in it until now, so that's where Anne Grimshaw hangs out. And I will be putting her away and getting out my February WIPGOs. Now my February WIPGO projects I'm very excited about because the number that was called was my Pink House sampler. And I talked about this in Flosstube number 2, I think. And I kind of told y'all, you know, like I have a great-great-grandmother who had at one time the world record for number of multiple births, and she had like 19 children, 3 sets of triplets, 3 sets of twins. I mean, it was just like crazy. So I wanted to honor her with this piece, and I was going to stitch her name and her birth year here. And then inside of this cartouche, I'm going to do all of the initials of her children. And I do have some mistakes on this. I used the wrong color on the flowers there, but instead of fixing it, I just repeated the mistake. So I did the wrong color here and here, and I think, I can't tell if that, I mean, they're so similar, I don't think it matters. And then inside the house, I think the siding on this house, this light pink color, I'm pretty sure I used the wrong one there. So instead of picking it out, I'm just going to repeat it on the other side. It's still a pink house, so I don't think it matters. The one thing I need to go back and do is pick out this, I think it's a sheep. I need to pick that out because it's so, it's disappearing into the fabric. I used too light of a thread color, so I'm gonna have to figure out a darker color to stitch that. And let's see, I'm stitching it on 36 count Old Mushroom by XJU Designs. It's probably my favorite fabric. I just love the modeling in it. So that will be what I'm working on this month. I'm super pumped. I know it's like a lot of fill, but I have so much done on it already. Like I could get a fair amount done on this. I don't want to say I'm going to finish it. I need to be realistic, but I am looking forward to working on this and maybe even doing some more research on Ancestry to make sure that I've got all the names right and spelling and everything. So that is my first WIPGO project. Oh, and the pattern, I'm sorry, the pattern is Pink House Samplers. Not Pink House Sampler. Pink House Sampler by Plum Street Samplers. Well, let me show the chart. So there's the chart. So yeah, I don't really have a whole lot left to go. So exciting. And she stays in, this is another Dot Dot Goose bag. Lori Holt. All right. Okay, the other WIPGO project for February that I'll be working on is Winter Moon. I feel like a lot of people have been working on this lately. There's the chart. I'm stitching it on the called for, which is I think 36 count Saltbush by Fox and Rabbit. And I have all the called for threads. I started it, I think, Christmas 2023. And just last year, right around, I guess it was in December, I picked it up again and I started working on it. And I think I pretty much got like all this done. A lot of the house, I had already outlined the roof and I did this whole tree and kind of worked my way down. So I'm hoping, again, I don't want to say I'm going to finish it in February, but I'm going to try to get a lot done. And if y'all have seen Shady Grove Stitcher, Emily, she just finished this and she left out the rabbit. I know some people aren't a fan of the rabbit. So if you want to go over to her Instagram, Shady Grove Stitcher, you can see how she reworked the chart. She added like more snowflakes and it's so cute how she did. So if you're looking for ideas on how to eliminate some of that extra stitching, then go check out Emily. Okay, so in addition to my January WIPGO projects, I think in my last video I might have shared my birthday start. I don't remember actually. You would think 2 weeks isn't that long ago, but I started this on my birthday, which was on the 13th, and I got a lot of the border done. And I'm stitching this on 36 count Weeks Dye Works linen. The color of the linen is called linen, and that's so confusing, but I'll show this close up on my other camera, but for now you can kind of see, you can see the size of it. I've really been enjoying it. The border, if you're gonna stitch this, for the love of God, just stitch the square around the border first. Use that as a guide. I know, it's like you have to eat your vegetables before you can eat your dessert. Stitch the border, make sure you have that correct, and then you have a guide where you can check, and then when you add the other elements in this chart, you won't get off. Because I started up here and I worked my way over, and at some point I was like, something is going on here. And luckily I only had to pick out like this and redo it, but I recommend stitching that square first. And I'll show y'all a trick that I use when I'm stitching something with, you know, that's like 190 stitches. You know, it gets hard counting sometimes, so I'll share what I do. So that was the start that I worked on. I got all of this done in the last 2 weeks or so, and I'm really looking forward to working on that some more. My other new start was Hands Across the Sea and Webb. I'll show this one close up too, but for now you can get an idea of how big it is. I love this one. I was never really like into the old antique samplers until recently, but when I saw this one, it had a lot of pink in it and it was just vibrant and bright and pretty. And I've kind of like gotten kind of obsessed with samplers from Hands Across the Sea, so we'll get to that in haul. But and Webb, it's gonna look like this, and it's really big. It's kind of deceivingly big. I didn't think it was as big as it was, but I ordered all the thread in the chart way back, like March 2024. I had gotten a nice bonus from work and I went crazy on 1-2-3 Stitch, and I was so excited to get all of the supplies for this. And one thing I really love about Hands Across the Sea, like I love history and I love learning about things. I love that they include like a write-up of the stitcher, if they're able to find information like what her life was like at the time, her family, what was going on in the world, like world events. And I just think that's so extra. Like, I would buy the chart just to read about the person who stitched it. Even if I'm not going to stitch the chart, I think it's really neat that Nicola does that. So she puts a lot of work and research into these patterns. And it was my first time. This is where I'm keeping it. This is another Dot Dot Goose. I have a lot of Denise's project bags. I keep it in, it's like a Valentine's Day bag, but I thought the colors went with it really well. So I am using the Averiswa 103s. I don't really know what the 103 means. 100, I've seen it like 100 backslash 3, 100.3. If someone could tell me what the numbers mean, I would like to know. I'm always asking questions about stuff, so I don't know, I'm just curious what exactly that means. But anyway, Averiswa, I can tell you, means the silkworm in French. So I got the answer to that question when it popped into my head. But anyway, first time using silk. I'm really enjoying it so far. The trick is to not cut off a really long length, otherwise it will twist up on you and drive you crazy. So I have all the threads, and I guess when I ordered it from 123 Stitch, you know, when you add it to your cart, you can add all the thread that goes with it. I think their product information page was simply missing 3 of the colors. So I had to stop working on it because I realized I did not have 3 of the colors I needed. I was able to find them at Hobby House, so that order should be here hopefully Saturday or Monday. And then I can jump back in, but I kind of ended up stuck just working on the borders because I knew I had a lot of green and that I was going to be able to work on the border. I can hear Whiskey woofing. They all get each other going. He barks when he sees a bird. We just got the guy that leases the property behind us. We stop it. He leases the property behind us, which is owned by my dad. My parents live next door, and he leases the property from my dad, and he brings his cattle out, and they hang out in the pasture until the pond gets low, and then he kind of moves them around other areas around town. But he brought his cows back a week ago. Oh my gosh. It has just been so exciting. Ginger, you don't even know what you're barking at. Just in case. I hope Jake can like lower the volume on this. Shh. No, we're not doing that. Anyway, we have cows. It's very exciting. There they go. I'll stop talking now. Give your ears a break. So let's look at Ann Webb up close. This is being stitched on. It took me a while to find fabric that I thought would look good. I knew I wanted like a creamy white, and I had tried the Zweigart, just antique white, like 36 count Zweigart, and it was just like too boring. And the weave on it was pretty loose, and so I didn't really like that you could practically see through it like cheesecloth. So I found this is 36 count Vanilla Cream by Atomic Ranch. And if you're going to stitch this on 36 count, you do need a half yard cut. And I think I was going to start this on my birthday, and then I realized I did not have a big enough piece of fabric, so I had to wait for the mail to come with my half yard. But here's the pattern. And then I'll share. I love the colors. Lots of, it's very almost kind of Eastery, like pastel. So I think I'm missing like another pink, like a darker pink maybe, I'm not sure, but hopefully they'll be here soon. So that is Ann Webb, and I'm looking forward to working on her a lot more. I really want to get into her. I saw House of Stitch and Stash. I think her name is Rika. she started working on this, or I think she had been working on it, and she pulled it back out. She has, sorry, she has a lot more done than me, but oh, it's so pretty. I'm sorry, y'all. My producer is not here today, so he's not able to like distract the dogs and fuss at them. So, I'm a single parent today. Okay. So here is At Home. This is called At Home by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I am stitching it on, like I said before, 36 count Weeks Dye Works linen in the color linen. And I'm using all the called for threads. There's a little bit of DMC in it, but most of it's overdyed cotton. And what I was saying before about when you're stitching something that has hundreds of stitches all in a row, it's hard to like. So like if you're coming down the side, I like to make my stitches one at a time when I'm stitching one stitch vertically down. It's just easier that way. But when I do something like this, I will stitch half stitches, but every 10th stitch I will do a full cross. So when you go back to count, you can literally point and say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and get the whole number up quickly without sitting there with counting pins and struggling and trying to concentrate on what number you are on. So I do that all the way around, and then I will go back and finish the full cross. Yes, it's you're kind of sacrificing some of your variegation in your thread if you've got a highly variegated thread, but that doesn't bother me enough. Especially with a single stitch like that, you're still going to get some variegation. But when I did the border on Consider the Lilies, I did the bones of the border first, and if you've seen that chart, it is huge. And let me tell you, stitching half stitches and then crossing every 10th stitch made the stitching, it was so much easier to count and keep up with. So I say that though with caution, because in my moment of brilliance, one of these sections up here, I think it was probably in the beginning because I messed up here. One of these sections had 11 half stitches and not, well, 9 half stitches instead of, 10 half stitches instead of 9 because I'm crossing on the 10th. But yeah, I kept sitting there and I was counting and I was counting, and I would get over to the far right and be like, that number is supposed to be 208. Why is it 206? And everything else seemed to line up. But man, I figured it out, y'all, eventually. That is a tip I hope y'all find useful. It has saved me so much time. So I will be working on this one some more next month as well. I also wanted to share some products that I have been using that have helped me with my stitching. The first thing is, this is a table. I got it off Amazon. It clamps to the arm of your chair or your couch, and it gives you another surface to work from. So I put my, I have like a cookbook stand that I put on top of it, and that holds my chart. And then you can put your phone or your tablet in the slot up here, and it holds it for you. So I'll link this below. And it has like the carpet grip, rug grip pad on the back and the sides of it. So it's nice having just an extra surface area to store things. The other product that I wanted to talk about are jeweler's glasses. I got these off of Amazon a couple of years, maybe 3 years ago. I'm not sure if they still sell this exact brand anymore, but there are a ton of options on Amazon and they're very affordable. We're talking like 20, 30 bucks maybe. I want to say I paid 27 for these. They're comfortable. It looks ridiculous, but I promise They do fit over glasses. If you wear glasses, you can still wear these. The nose bridge part, it will leave a little mark on your nose, but it's not like digging into your skin. It's not uncomfortable. There's rubber pads. There's also rubber where your forehead touches it. So all things considered, it's really not uncomfortable, and it really helps. So it has a light on the front of it with 2 different brightness levels. If your light starts to die, you just plug it in. There's a little plug here. It's rechargeable, so it's cordless. Just charge it up. You're good to go. I haven't used these in months, and it still lights up, so it holds a charge really well. But this particular pair came with 5 different lenses with different magnifications. I think they go from 1 to 5x. So I will demonstrate. Your family will make fun of you for a little while when you first start wearing them. But the strap is adjustable. Put it on over your head. See if I can get this. I don't know if y'all can see my huge giant eyeballs. So yes, this is what I use for the higher count fabrics. If it's late at night or I'm having trouble seeing, this makes it so much easier because I can see what I'm doing and my hands are free and I'm not trying to line up. Now I will say at the same time, I have worn glasses with these and I have been able to watch TV. So I know that sounds like a major talent. I promise it's not that big of a, I don't know, it's like I can be stitching, looking down at my work through my lenses, and then I can look up at the TV and my eyes still focus fine. So it's possible to do many things at once. So these are the jeweler's glasses, and I will put a product link in my description box just to get y'all started. But if you just search Amazon for jeweler's glasses, I'm sure there are a ton of options to pick from. They're very pretty. Okay, I have one more thing to show, and it's kind of quilting related and cross stitch related. I have been looking at project folios for many months, and I know there are people that make them and sell them on Instagram and Etsy, and I would love to be able to buy like all of them. But I wanted to see if I could make my own and just kind of play, see if I like it. And I wanted to share, I used some of my Lori Holt fabric scraps, which I have a metric ton of. I pulled out pinks and taupes and creams and kind of just went from there. I had found a pattern on Etsy, and I'll link to it below. I found a pattern on Etsy and I purchased the pattern, and then I looked at it, and I am the type of person who will get overwhelmed at a lot of text and steps. So I kind of looked at the picture and then put the pattern away and did my own thing. So I kind of knew I wanted it to be about 8.5 by 12.5. So I started by just laying out pieces of fabric and approximately where I wanted them to fall on my folio. So then I just I sewed them together and trimmed them down and sewed some more on until it was the size I wanted. So I knew I wanted my spine to be 2.5. Well, I wanted it to finish at 2 by 12.5. So 2 by 12. And I cut it at 2.5 by 12.5. But I knew I wanted it to be quilted, so I wanted to use my long arm for that, which I did. And I chose pink thread and a pink heart pattern, and I will open it up and show y'all. This is the back, and I have a little label here that I'll talk about in a little bit. This is my folio. It turned out really cute, and I'm happy with it. There are definitely some things that could be improved on and that I could have done better, but for a first trial run, I'm pretty proud of it. So I will do my, man, there's been a cord hanging here this whole time. It's very unprofessional. I will do my top-down camera and show y'all up close and personal what the inside looks like. So that's the front. Now when I did this, I used long time ago, I used to make bags all the time. I've made a lot of by Annie bags and just bags in general. I'm very familiar with clasps and zippers and all that stuff for purse making and bag making. So I had a package of these magnetic clasps that I must have bought like a value pack of them off Amazon. And I thought I would really like, because I didn't really have Velcro and I wasn't sure if I wanted the Velcro, the stitching to show on the front. So I went with a magnetic clasp. And in a perfect world, I would have buried my brackets, because when you feed this through the fabric onto the other side, there is a bracket, like a kind of like the gold brads that you would use on paper. That's how you poke it through, and then you anchor it with another piece of metal. And that was kind of ugly. So ideally you would hide that on the wrong side of the fabric before you quilt it, but I wanted it quilted, so I went ahead and just, oh, it's fine, you'll just see it. And then I thought, oh, I can cover it with a button and it'll still look nice. And you can't really tell that there's an ugly piece of metal behind it. So it worked. But that's the front and the back. So I knew I wanted a vinyl pocket. So I used, I just went to Hobby Lobby and I had him cut half a yard of vinyl for me. And I put a zipper so I can store stuff there, but I can also store stuff behind it. So the inside of it is fully finished as well. And you can see down there the brad I was talking about. Like, it's not the prettiest, but you can't see it, so it doesn't bother me. The one in there is fine. So then the other side, I have another pocket that's open in the back, and then I have a fully lined pocket here. Now this loopy thing here I put for threads. So this is a lot of thread to show y'all. I would not put this much thread in here, but this was my goal here, was I was going to put like a key ring and then it would hold all of my thread. It's probably a bit too much thread for this project bag, but anyway, I have my needle holder. I just got some felt from Hobby Lobby. It was like 25 cents for a sheet. And then I made, this is a thread bed. Again, I just got some felt and stuck it on there. I sewed it to the pocket, and then I have my scissor pocket. These are what I use to get, if I have to unpick some of my stitching and it leaves the fuzz behind. This is just like a clean mascara wand that I can brush the excess away and keep it clean. You can get those, again, you can get everything. I should just be a spokesperson for Amazon. You can get these off Amazon in a value pack for very cheap. Just search for mascara brushes. So I throw these in every project bag pretty much. But yeah, so that is my project folio. I think I do want to make more. I just need a break because that was a lot of work. And I can totally see why people charge so much for them. I would charge at least $100 for this, so I mean, yeah, I wish I could buy them all, but anyway, when I went to attach my flap, like to close it, I did my binding. I sewed it to, I did it like I would do a quilt. I hand sewed my binding, machine stitched it to this edge because I didn't want to hand stitch through vinyl, so I machine stitched this side, flipped it over and hand stitched it around the front and back covers. And then when I went to do my flap, it's literally just a square of quilted fabric that I put binding around, and I top stitched it through. It's barely visible. I stitched through the ditch between these two fabrics. And luckily I lined it up pretty good because you can barely see where I top stitched it. But anyway, I think it's cute and it worked. So I don't know what I'm going to store in it yet, but I can see myself making like a Christmas one and a Halloween or a fall one for every season. And God knows I have enough fabric to make a million of these, so maybe over time I'll perfect it and figure out the best, what works and what doesn't. And Coco. Okay, let's get into haul. I was not good this month. Jake and I went into an antique store. Jake and I went into an antique store and I found a tiny washboard. And I thought this would be so cute for a cross stitch finish. So I made Jake buy it for me. And coincidentally, Emily at Shady Grove Stitcher just finished something on a mini washboard, the same brand that I got. So I said, like, how did this happen? And she said, because we're the same person in two bodies. So if you want to see a cute cross stitch finish on a mini washboard, her latest video, she did a hands-on design pattern, knee-high, something 4th of July. But it's really cute, and I'm still thinking about what I want to stitch and put on this. So if you have any suggestions, I would greatly appreciate some ideas, because it's really cute. I'm thinking I just want to stand it up on the kitchen counter and lean it on the backsplash maybe. So just something small. It's about 8 by 9, the silver part, 8 by 9, and I still want to be able to see some of it, I think. So something 7 by 8 maybe. But that was exciting. So I saw quite a few of these in the antique stores, so I wonder if you ever go antiquing, how common they are, because I feel like they're not too hard to find. So I was excited about that. And then someone mentioned, I think on my second video, that they recommended buying like iron-on labels to label like your cross-stitch finishes, like your soft finishes, like pillows. And I've ordered from this company before. I have quilt labels from them. And I found these iron-on, so there's a sticker, like a backing paper that you peel off, and then you can iron these right on the back of your piece. So I did not pay for them to pre-cut them all. For this size, I wish I had, but I figured, hey, I have a ruler and a rotary cutter, I can do it myself. Well, the smaller labels are a little harder, so you can opt to not have them cut them. I think it saves you a little bit of money, but I got that one, and then I got, these are 1-inch squares, and they have so many different options and design choices. You can customize as much or as little as you want to. And the Love Notes pillows that I finished last time, I went back and I ironed one of these labels on the back of each one of them. So I think that'll come in handy. And I think I got 100 of these, and I think there are 200. I don't know if there are two. There's a lot in here. Really affordable. Maybe $17 for one package. It just depends on what you want. These are cotton, I think. So if you want like satin tags or anything like that, it's gonna be a little bit more. But the shop is called Ever Emblem, and I'll link to them below. But really great service. Their website is fantastic. You can get proofs sent to you. Really nice. So really makes ordering easy. So I got that, and then I got some linen. Let's see. I ordered, this is Fox and Rabbit 36 count ballet slippers. And someone mentioned that it was kind of pink. and I love pink, and I've been wanting to make, I think her name is Marjorie Maid. I watched her Flosstube. I think it was her, and she is stitching the floral motif sampler on this, and I thought, I've been wanting to kind of start that, so I thought I could use the same fabric that she's using, and it's kind of fun in pink. And also, I got the Seraphim Fabric of the Month. I'm so excited I was able to finally join not only the Seraphim Fabric Club, but also the Fox and Rabbit Fabric Club that I've been trying to get into for years. So, got my first club shipment from Seraphim. This is Winter Mint 36 count. And I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I'm just so excited that I finally got into a fabric club. Not that I need more fabric, but I hate missing out on stuff. So that was exciting. And then I got Farm Girl Dry Goods had needle and flax linen come in, and I've seen some other stitchers stitching on these two fabrics, Dolly Madison and Sleeping Bear, and I wanted to give them a try. They look like good neutrals to have. Oh hell. Where's my Fox and Rabbit? Oh, you know what? It's in the car. We checked the mail Tuesday on our way to IKEA. Crap! I left it in the car, and Jake is not here today, so I can't get it. But I did get the Fox and Rabbit club shipment, and just so excited that I was able to get in there, because I really wanted to be in the Fox and Rabbit club, and every other Flosstuber holds up their fabric every month, and I'm like, oh, I want to be a part of the club. So I'm finally in a club. 2 clubs. So, I'm sorry, you'll just have to take my word for it on Fox and Rabbit. It's very pretty. And I started getting into Hands Across the Sea patterns. Like I said before, I love history. I love learning about stuff. I feel like there's something going on with my eye. I picked up some charts. I have decided, I think this month, well, February, it's January 31st, but I really want to do a sampler wall in my house. And in order to do that, I really want to jump in with both feet and concentrate on the monochromatic alphabet samplers that are small and achievable. So the first one I got is Edna Verenia Nickel, 1884. I got the Silk 103 threads. Well, I think there's only one thread. Anyway, it's little. On 36 count, it's 14, well, little. 14 by 12. But I think it's going to be easy, fast stitching, because it's just letters. I think that'll be pretty quick, and I think I could totally knock this out pretty fast. And I looked at all the chart inside. There's no over one. It's all just cross stitch. There's no back stitch. I think I could do that. I think that'll just be fun, satisfying, fast. So I got that one. Then I got, this is Georgiana Caroline Williams. I really like this one. I don't know why. I think it's just the stark black against the fabric. So this one will finish at 14 by 15. That's funny. I said like small samplers, and here I am saying like these are not small. But I think with the alphabet and all the letters, I think it'll be pretty quick. I mean, the border, there's a couple of different borders in it. I don't see any specialty stitches. Like, I think I can manage. So I got it calls for Noir, I think. Noir 103. So we're gonna give that a try. What else have got? Florence Law. I really like this one. I like, it says waste not, want not. I think that's kind of fun. Florence Law, $18.99. This one, oh, I'm reading off the fabric sizes to y'all, not the chart size. I'm sorry. Okay, so this one will finish at 7.5 by 7.5 about. So that's small-ish for me. I'm picturing like a framed sampler on the wall, so I think this would look really good. This one, 9 by 9.5. Not that much bigger than this one. And this one, it's about 9 by 6.5. So yeah, these are totally small. Like I can do it. It's just once I finish it, I have to lace it. That's when I start procrastinating. But I think it would be really neat to just, I think I'm gonna try to finish 2 in February, just to start and see how it goes. I also got Dorothy Sampson. I saw Brenda in the Serial Starter. She stitched this when it first came out. And I think I'm gonna do this one here. I thought I like the 2 colors. I got the red and the blue that it calls for. And then if I'm feeling it, I might try to do the mattress pincushion finish. Is it the same on the front and back? Yeah. Brenda did hers into a pincushion and it was really neat. I think her finisher did it for her, and I really think it would be pretty quick. The pincushion not so much, but this sampler, I think I would enjoy that. See, I got the silks for the patterns I just showed you. There are 3 different reds I got, and then I think there's 2 different, one's noir and one is 774. So I have a couple of different colors to kind of play with in terms of shades, figure out what I like the most. I also got this chart and Rudolph. Of course, I saw Lori Holt stitched it and I thought that is so cute. It's small, and not that I need to do any more Christmas stitching. I think that's what I have the most of. I wanted to do like what she did. She used one thread color. I think she just used a green from her stash, and I know I can come up with a green, and it's all text, so it should be relatively quick, right? So I got that, and then I finally caved and got this kit. I've been looking at this kit on Country Sampler for like 2 years, a year and a half, and I actually already had the pattern, but I wanted the linen that was called for and nobody had it. Country Sampler had it because they still had kits. This wasn't exclusive to them at one point, so I just bought the kit, and now I have 2 patterns. So if anyone's looking for an extra pattern of this, come see me. But yeah, I think this one's really pretty. Peace on Earth. And I think Lori Holt stitched this one recently too. That's probably what got my mind going on it, and that's why it jumped into my cart finally, because I saw hers and I was like, I should just go ahead and buy the pattern twice and just get over it. So I have all the thread and the fabric, which is Winter Woolens by Seraphim, and I don't think you can get that anywhere anymore. So all right, I also got Stacy Nash Big Blue House Pin Keep Drum. I really like the bunting at the top of this. I want to get some of that for our house, maybe this year, for the 4th of July. And I think I'm pretty sure I looked at the thread list, and the only one that looked unfamiliar to me was campfire, so I've got to find the other threads in my stash for it, but I should have everything for that. I also got Hannah's Brownstone by the Scarlet house. I've loved this one for a long time too, and I finally decided I'm just gonna have to, I don't want the other chart to be lonely in the mail, so and I think I had all the threads, maybe except for Beige by Weeks Dye Works. I'm pretty sure I have all the others, so just in case I picked up the beige thread. This chart I had, I bought it when it first came out. I did not have the threads for it, but I've decided I might want to start it this year, so I went ahead and purchased the threads that I needed. And this one actually is pretty small. It's 113 by 89, the stitch count. But I know that border is going to be a booger. So usually when Paulette makes a pattern, she makes you work for it. So there's a lot of stitching in her patterns, but they're amazing. And one of my favorite designers is Paulette Plum Street. I also picked up Anne Shelton by the Scarlet house. Again, I'm just still on the sampler kick right now. I love stitching the cutesy stuff, but I really like the historical aspect of stitching and needlework, so I'm dipping my toes, so to speak. Well, I would say I've jumped in completely. I'm submerged in samplers. So I'm looking forward to starting this. I guess I'm gonna do the DMC conversion on it maybe, because it calls for Belsois silk. And I don't know that I would buy, there's like 12 skeins, and I think isn't Belsois like $7 or $8 a skein? I probably won't buy it, but the DMC will be pretty. Is that it? I guess that's everything. Thought there was more. I'm kind of disappointed. Yeah. That's it. I didn't buy that much, right? I'm gonna clean all this up, and then I will talk about something else. My plans. Okay, I'll be right back. So I'm gonna be working on my February WIPGO projects, Winter Moon and Pink House Sampler. So my next video in hopefully 2 weeks, I will have some progress to show on those two. I also pulled out this chart, Coming to America by With Thy Needle and Thread. And as I said before, I'm very interested in history. So I wanted to start this. I'm thinking I need to order a couple of different threads here, but I pretty much have all the supplies, and I'm gonna do it on the called for fabric, which is Vintage Country Mocha, but I think I'm gonna do it on 36 count. It calls for 40, but 36 is kind of my sweet spot, so I think that one will be really neat. So we'll see. I might start that, and then Dorothy Sampson. I think I want to start that next month too, and see if that can be one of the samplers that I start and finish. And then I do want to, now that I have my sewing table here kind of configured how I want it, and I feel like I can move around easier, I do want to start, this is my big box of fabric for Lori Holt's Flower Basket Sew Along. So I am waiting on, I ordered the triangle papers for the pinwheel blocks in that quilt, because I think that is going to make it faster. Because for me, when I make half square triangles, I like to make them bigger and then trim them to size. I have never been able to sew a diagonal seam in my life and had it turn out like perfectly square. So I'm thinking I'm going to do the triangle paper for that and see how it goes. I think that'll make it really quick. And I might start cutting the fabric for it this weekend. And I think I want to film like how I do it. I know I've shown y'all a lot of my Lori Holt applique quilts, and I would like to share, I guess, my method. And when I say my method, it's really me with a pair of scissors just sloppily chopping fabric. It might trigger some people. But she has like a be prepared post for each of her applique sew along quilts. And I used to follow it, and I would cut out the perfect little squares and rectangles of interfacing and have them all ready in stacks and piles, and then I would go back and I would, trace with a pencil the shape and then sew it and cut it out. And after a while I realized, like, there's so much fabric in these kits. If I'm careful and I pay attention, I can just chop with some scissors and skip the whole be prepared part and just dive right in, rather than like cutting out all these pretty shapes all square and perfect and then cutting them again. Like, I'm just gonna skip the first cut and just chop it all out at once. So that's kind of what I do. So I think I might film some of that and show y'all how I do my applique for her quilts. It's more or less her method that I follow, but there are some things I've learned along the way and things that help me. So I'm thinking I might share a little bit of that. I have some quilts to show y'all from our master bedroom. Last year I made, from Doug Lico's book, Stashtastic, I think it's Stashtastic 2, I had made the quilt in the book for him, and then I think I made it a second time. I think he was doing a show or something, and he wanted, yeah, because I got it back. It was, I did it I did the sample in the book, which was like French General red and cream. This is the pattern Amazing, AHH-Amazing, Amazing. So I did the sample in the book, and then I did another sample for him out of me and my sister designs fabric. I think I gave that to we were going to quilt it and donate it, I think, but I ended up making it a third time. I decided I wanted a quilt for our bed for our new house, and I ordered a half-yard bundle of Midnight in the Garden by Sweetfire Road. What is it called? Midnight in the Garden. It was a Moda. Really pretty autumnal pinks and golds and blacks and gray, and I mixed in some Zen Chic fabric to darken it a little bit with the black fabric. So I made a whole bed quilt with that for our bed, and I bought, sometimes with Moda fabrics they release like a coordinating tea towel set, and this particular fabric line was available with it came out with a tea towel set. So I bought the tea towels, and I have used tea towels from Moda. I will say that they fade quite a bit after you wash them and dry them. So I knew I didn't really want to use them, but I wanted to find a way to display them. So what I did was I got 3 cheap white canvases from Hobby Lobby, and I staple gunned the tea towels around them, and then I just hung them on the wall. So it looks like canvas art, but I think I even got the tea towel set on clearance. It was maybe $12 for the whole set of 3. So I made matching pillowcases for me and Jake. What else? I had so many blocks. I messed up. So when I made this king size quilt, I accidentally made too many blocks. For some reason I thought I needed like 210 blocks, and realized after I made all the blocks I only needed like 150 for this king size quilt. So I ended up with a surplus of like 60 blocks, and I thought I'll just make another quilt, I guess. So I made a throw quilt using the same pattern. I think I added a little border to it, and I think we used it to cover Whiskey's crate at night. So he has coordinating bedding, all our bedding matches, and I'll show y'all Coco's. We got these wooden dog houses from WLO store, WLOstore.com, I think. I'll link it below, but She has a very bougie wooden dog crate set up next to my side of the bed. I would get one for the other two, but Whiskey, I don't trust him as much not to tear it up, especially if we're not home and my mom has to come over and put them to bed for the night. I don't trust him not to chew it and rip it up. Ginger, I think, would be okay, but for now, just Coco has a fancy house. And then I have a Christmas quilt that's still hanging on the wall. I haven't taken it down yet because I'm lazy, and I'd have to put one up in its place. Not that I don't have one to put up, but it's a lot of work getting these quilts hung up on the wall. But I'll share all the pattern information and fabric information with the photos. And I also wanted to share, we have 4 bar stools in our kitchen, at our kitchen island, and I have 4 pillows that I made for them using Lori Holt's block patterns that she had in her Be Vintage sew along. So I did Sunbonnet Sue. Y'all saw my Sunbonnet Sue quilt. I did like a pillow with the Sunbonnet Sue block, and then I did what's the male version of it? Sunbonnet Sue, and he's fishing. It's some clever name, dang it. I can't think of it. Sunbonnet Sue, the fisherman version, and then I did a little dog and a cat. So I'll share my little pillows that I made in the pictures to follow. What else? I can't think of, I took these pictures a few weeks ago, so I'm trying to remember what I took photos of to share. But anyway, I had a couple of people I wanted to mention. I already talked about Emily, Shady Grove Stitcher, but I watched Tiny House Stitcher. A lot of people had been really excited to see a video from her because she had, I guess, been gone for like 10 months. And I found her video, and it was like 2.5 hours, and I love the longer floss tubes, like, especially if they're holding up stuff that I really like. The longer the better. I love it. And she had so many beautiful projects to share, and I really enjoyed watching her. I got a lot of inspiration from her, and then at the very end she shared some things about her personal life that made me really admire her even more. So if y'all are looking for someone to watch, Tiny House Stitcher, I really recommend her. She was wonderful. So I think that's all I have for today. So if you've made it this far through my rambling, thank you for sticking around. I look forward to coming back in 2 weeks, and I will see you then. Bye. Do you need help? Here. Go in there. Okay. There you go. Ow. I hit my funny bone. I feel so dumb. See, Jake, this eyebrow is up higher than this eyebrow. See that? My face is crooked. And I keep trying to fix it with like an eyebrow pencil, and I don't know, it's... I feel like my whole face is crooked. I know it's not the camera. It's my weird face. Me, that was terrible. Oh wait, I should think about what I'm gonna say. Just dead air. I start thinking about how much storage space is like filling up on the laptop, and like it's just me sitting here trying to gather my thoughts. Me, I'll just start over.